You said after the Lakers win, you said you were surprised that you didn't feel more. So I'm curious what you are feeling right now, and if you're looking forward to a parade coming up in Denver.
When is parade? When is parade?
Thursday.
No. I need to go home. Hello. Okay.
Being great hustle back by guys like Contavious Caldwell-Pope to get in on those plays, on some of those turnovers. So they weren't playing at a high efficiency level early on.
In the NBA, scouting prospects has gone from what was once looking just at college athletes who were nearing their senior year to high school prospects who were nearing 18 years of age to now scouts are looking at players as young as middle school age to try to find the next superstar and face of the league. And when searching for prospects that young, I highly doubt scouts are going to be on the lookout for this guy. That's right, Nikola Jokic in middle school. Yes, it's the age-old picture that everyone now likes to surface, as it's hard to imagine this kid would become the best player in the world, two-time MVP, and now NBA champion. But while we laugh and joke about Jokic and what we now have come to realize him as a superstar in the NBA, his rise to stardom and journey to the NBA is more interesting than you think, and it's what makes him quite possibly the most unique superstar we have ever seen in NBA history, and I'll explain why in this video. Also, a big shout out to the sponsor of this video, Factor, but more on that in a little bit. If you're new to the channel and you like this type of content, then be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video, and in return, I'll be providing more NBA content like this. When the Denver Nuggets drafted Jokic 41st overall in the second round of the 2014 draft, I don't think anyone, not even Jokic himself, thought he would become the player he is today and having such a big impact on the game of basketball. Players drafted in the second round rarely become stars. Hell, most don't even make it beyond their first contract. Some don't even make it to an NBA roster. Sure, you have your gems here and there that go in the second round, but rarely will you ever see one of those players become a top 5 player in the league, let alone go on to be the best player in the league. In fact, it's not just rare, it's literally never happened until Jokic came along. Jokic set the new standard for how basketball should be played and what one should consider to be valuable. A slower, unathletic player who can't jump somehow becomes the best player in the league. How does that happen? Because while most scouts are scouring the globe to find the next freak athlete who is insanely talented and providing top 10 plays on ESPN in high school with their in-game dunks that rival some of the best dunks from the dunk contest, there is something to be said about having the IQ, the court vision, the wherewithal, the drive and the desire to get better and make your teammates better. To have the understanding that you're only going to be successful if you make your team successful. And in an age where talent is focused more on themselves and how they secure their next contract, it makes Jokic especially unique with his unselfishness combined with elite level court vision and passing, and downright next level when it comes to his value and impact on the court, while also not really caring to the same extent about the game as maybe other players do, as I'm sure Jokic cannot wait to get home back to Serbia. And now that the offseason has officially begun, the season is behind us, summer is here, and hey, sometimes summer can be a little busy, and if you're too busy with summer plans to cook, but want to make sure you're still eating well, then our sponsor Factor has got you covered. Now for me personally, I've got 2 kids, ages 4 and 1, and while maintaining a full-time job as well as a YouTube channel and taking care of 2 kids, I hardly ever have time for cooking. And when you don't have time for cooking, you sometimes don't eat the best. But with Factor, skip the trip to the grocery store and skip the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality that you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. Yes, 2 minutes. All you have to do is heat and enjoy, then go back outside and soak up the warm weather, or in my case, back to work. And I won't lie, I'm a little wary of doing these ready-to-eat meals, but the food is actually really good, and my kids even love it too, which is a huge bonus. And hey, we all want to save money, right? Who doesn't? For me, what's been great about Factor is cutting back on the takeout costs. Get Factor instead. Not only is Factor cheaper than takeout, but meals are ready faster than restaurant delivery, like I said, in just 2 minutes. You can't beat that. And guys, they're offering viewers of this channel an exclusive offer. Head to factor75.com and click the link below and use code N150 to get 50% off your first Factor box. I'm telling you guys, this stuff is really good. Check it out. And with that, let's get back into the video. But first, a little history on Jokic and how he arrived to where he is today. So as I'm sure most are aware, Jokic came from very humble beginnings, growing up in Serbia in a small apartment with his parents, 2 brothers, and grandmother. And while Jokic had an interest in basketball at a very young age, it wasn't until he hit 17 where his skills really started to take off. And when I say take off, it wasn't in the sense like you would see from a 4 or 5 star level recruit. No, he was playing for a junior team of professional basketball squad in Serbia called Mega Basket, and he was putting up okay numbers for the games in which he played for the actual senior professional team. Still impressive. It's not easy to even get minutes on a professional basketball team when you're 17 years old, regardless of the league, but he wasn't drawing any international news and attention at that time. But fast forward to 2014, Jokic grew. He excelled with his scoring in the paint, his rebounding, and even improving his passing. And his skills in that, now primarily playing for the senior team, drew enough attention in the NBA draft that the Nuggets took him with the 41st pick in that draft. Now, most people probably don't remember this, even I myself forgot until I looked up his numbers. Jokic was actually a draft and stash player in 2014, which is pretty common for international prospects who are still playing under contract with their professional team overseas. While the Nuggets own the rights to Jokic, he ended up playing one more year for a Serbian league team, and you could say this is where he really started breaking out. By this point, he was 20 years old, he was starting to slim down and building muscle. He quickly became the leader of his team and finished the 2014-15 season in Serbia, averaging 18.4 points per game, 10.4 rebounds, and 2.7 assists, and was named the Adriatic League MVP. So technically, Jokic has 3 MVPs under his belt, including the 2 in the NBA. And with his performance, his growth, and maturity, the Nuggets, rather than stashing him for another year, decided to bring him over and sign him to his first deal and play his rookie season with them. And right away, there was something different about the way in which Jokic played the game of basketball because, again, he wasn't fast, wasn't athletic. A lot of times it almost seemed like he didn't care when he was on the court, but he produced. In his rookie season, he averaged 10 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 2.4 assists on only 21 minutes per game, and coming off the bench for nearly half the season. Jokic would go on to receive all rookie first-team honors and actually finish 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting in 2016, only behind Karl Anthony Towns, who won Rookie of the Year, and Kristaps Porzingis. The Nuggets quickly realized they hit on a gem in drafting Jokic in the second round, and Jokic would go on to not only improve from that point further, excelling with his scoring, not only as an elite post-up player, but also improving his overall shooting both in the mid-range as well as from outside, taking more jump shots than we had seen him do in his rookie year. But then also, going into his sophomore year and beyond, this is where we really started seeing Jokic excel with his passing, making him even more of a threat on offense with not only his ability to score, but having eyes on the back of his head and spatial awareness to create plays around him for others. By his 4th season in the league, Jokic would go on to be selected to his first All-Star game as well as an All-NBA team, and would continue to get better and better with every passing season, where he was even being considered as a top MVP candidate as early as 2018, and would ultimately win the award, his first one, in 2020. But here's the thing. We all know Jokic is an incredible player. We know that he's arguably the best player in the league. I personally had Giannis as the best player in the NBA, but have since revised that after Jokic had won this most recent title and completely dominating the league for the past 3 seasons. We all know what he brings to the table. We've seen the advanced stats, leading the league by far and away in offensive rating, player efficiency rating, value over replacement player, box plus minus is off the charts. Like, there is no denying how much better the Nuggets are as a team when he is on the court versus when he's off. But what makes Jokic such a unique superstar is not necessarily his performance, not the fact that he doesn't fit the typical mold of a big man with his body, speed, and athleticism. It's the fact that Jokic is one of the most unselfish superstars you will ever see in the NBA. Yes, every player has an ego, including Jokic, but for Jokic, who has said before, basketball is not his #1 priority, and for a guy who isn't about the limelight, who just wants to be a homebody, sees the game of basketball as going to work, doing his best to get the job done, and then calling it a day, is not something you typically see from superstars around the league, both past and present. You look at guys like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, guys who were obsessed with the game, obsessed with winning, the ultimate competitors. Their lives were surrounded by the game of basketball and being and striving for greatness. And while other superstars maybe didn't have the same tenacity and vigor like MJ and Kobe, but for the most part, they have always wanted the fame and the fortune and the desire to win and win at all costs. Jokic doesn't seem to even care. You saw him celebrating pouring the champagne over his teammates half-heartedly. You saw him in the post-game press conference when asked about attending the parade and being annoyed that it had to wait until Thursday because he wanted to go home, go back home to Serbia. Now, I'm sure some of that is playing it up. It's part of his humor. But Jokic legitimately does not have this attachment and obsession with the game of basketball like you see from other stars. And normally, this would bother fans, right? Like, you want players out there who actually give it their all and make the game a priority and actually give a damn to get better and win at all costs. But with Jokic, his lack of passion for the game doesn't impact his play. He's still one of the best players and keeps getting better. He's like one of those people who picks up a new skill and doesn't even really have to try to get better and do much. They just naturally excel and exceed their competition. And then the ones who have been practicing and trying to perfect their craft for years get annoyed that some dude came along and half-heartedly passed them up with their skill. That's Jokic when it comes to basketball. The dude is like, oh, we won a championship? Cool. I'm finals MVP? All right. MVP awards? Great. I'll accept the award back home in Serbia. And look, to have a superstar that is this unselfish, little ego, who maybe isn't as invested in the sport as others are, but to still play at an elite level is such a valuable tool for any team to have, because the biggest thing other stars struggle with is that despite their skill, despite their dominance, they let their ego get in the way and don't trust in their teammates, and it causes problems within the locker room. They feel the need to take over the game. They feel the need to be in the spotlight and be that guy. Jokic doesn't even want to be that guy. He still is, but he could care less if he only puts up 6 or 7 shot attempts in a game. He could care less if he isn't getting as many touches as his teammates. He comes in to do his job, still wants to win and be the best that he can be, but his level of detachment from the game of basketball takes the pressure off his back, takes the pressure off his teammates, and enables him to exceed without even really trying and without the ego and drama that comes with that. Really, we have never seen a player like Nikola Jokic with his skill, temperament, unselfishness, and level of detachment. Really, name a player that rivals of what Jokic is when it comes to a superstar level caliber player. Because if I'm missing someone, I need to know. So let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.